When humanity refused to fall back, the masks fell. Then the war began. A HFY science fiction short story, Commander Zextal, had witnessed the rise and fall of 17 civilizations across the Andromeda Spiral. As supreme war conductor of the Hegemony's Fourth Fleet, he had orchestrated the systematic dismantling of entire species with the cold precision of a surgeon. The Hegemony's doctrine was simple. Civilizations that refused to kneel would be ground to cosmic dust. Today he stood on the bridge of his flagship, the World Render, gazing at the small blue-green planet that hung like a defiant jewel against the void. Earth. The humans had been given the standard ultimatum 72 hours ago. Surrender unconditionally or face total annihilation. Their response had been unexpected. Sir, Communications Officer Vextai reported, her mandibles clicking with nervous energy. The humans are broadcasting on all frequencies again. Let them speak their final words, Zextal rumbled, his 6 eyes reflecting the planet's light. Perhaps they've reconsidered. The transmission crackled to life. A human female appeared on screen. Admiral Sarah Chun. If intelligence reports were accurate, her face was calm, almost serene as she spoke. To the Hegemony Fleet, she began, her voice carrying across the void. We have received your ultimatum. We have deliberated. Our answer remains unchanged. No. Zextal's primary tentacles twitched with irritation. Primitive fools. Do they not comprehend what they face? Admiral Chun continued. You mistake our silence for weakness, our restraint for inability. For 300 years, we have masqueraded as a young, peaceful species just taking our first steps into the galaxy. We allowed your scouts to catalog our primitive weapons, our limited ships, our backward technology. Her smile was razor sharp. Today, the masquerade ends. The transmission cut to black. Zextal felt a chill run through his exoskeleton, an emotion he hadn't experienced in centuries. Tactical. What are their ship movements? Sir ... That's impossible. Tactical Officer Krindar's voice carried a tremor. They have no ships in orbit. Our long-range sensors show only their pathetic defense platforms. The first human vessel materialized from nowhere, its angular hull seeming to fold reality around itself as it dropped out of what the Hegemony would later classify as quantum phase displacement. Then another. Then dozens. Within minutes, a fleet of sleek, predatory ships surrounded the Hegemony formation like sharks circling wounded prey. Stealth technology, Zextal breathed. But our sensors would have detected, would they? Admiral. Chun's voice returned, now transmitted directly onto his bridge without any detectable source. You scan for the energy signatures you know, the technologies you understand. You never looked for quantum-folded neutronium hulls, did you? Or ships that exist partially outside normal space-time. The human fleet was unlike anything in Hegemony. Records, where their ships were massive, brutish displays of overwhelming firepower, the human vessels were elegant death incarnate, smaller, faster, and radiating a technological sophistication that made Zextal's ancient flagship seem primitive. By comparison, impossible, he snarled. No species advances this rapidly. We would have detected. You detected what we wanted you to detect. Admiral Chun's image materialized as a hologram on his bridge, surrounded by data streams that his computers couldn't decode. Did you think we survived by accident? That we became the apex predator of a death world through luck? The World Render shuddered as something impacted its shields. But the tactical display showed no weapon discharge from the human ships. Kinetic bombardment, Chin explained conversationally. Tungsten rods accelerate to 0.99 C, fire from ships. You can't see, arriving faster than your sensors can track. We've been preparing for this day since your first scout probe entered our system. Every major engagement you fought, every tactical doctrine you've employed, every technological advantage you possess, we've studied them all. The Hegemony fleet began returning fire, massive plasma cannons and graviton torpedoes lighting up the void. But the human ships moved like liquid mercury, their trajectories defying physics as they danced between the destructive beams. How? Zexto demanded. You want to know how we learned to fight like this? Chun's smile turned predatory. We learn from each other. For millennia, we've waged war against ourselves with such creativity, such vicious innovation, that when we finally achieved peace, we had weaponized concepts your species hasn't even discovered yet. The human ships began their attack in earnest. What the hegemony had mistaken for impossible maneuvers were gravity drives that treated space-time like malleable clay. What they had dismissed as primitive kinetic weapons were planet crackers that struck with the force of dying stars. What they had cataloged as defensive platforms revealed themselves as phase-shifted fortress stations, each one capable of matching a hegemony dreadnought. But it wasn't the technology that broke Zexto's S. Well, it was the coordination. Thousands of human vessels moved as one organism, executing maneuvers so complex they seemed choreographed by gods. No communication delays, no hesitation, no fear. You're networked, he realized with growing horror. Quantum entangled consciousness. Chun confirmed. We think as one when we choose to. Every human pilot, every gunner, every tactical officer sharing knowledge instantaneously across impossible distances. Your individual commanders make decisions in isolation. We are a hive mind that chooses to be individuals. The world render buckled as its shields failed. Around him, the mighty Fourth Fleet, the same force that had shattered the crystalline collective and burned the void swimmers from existence, crumbled like sand before the tide. Retreat. Zextal roared, all ships, emergency jump. There will be no retreat, Admiral Chun said softly. You came here to end a species. Instead, you've awakened one. The hologram leaned forward, her eyes holding depths of calculation that spoke of plans within plans, strategies that spanned decades. We know where you come from, Zexto. We know about your hegemony, your slave worlds, your breeding programs. We've been inside your networks since your first scout arrived. The remaining hegemony ships found their jump drives non-responsive. Human technology had infiltrated their very core systems like a virus, learning, adapting, taking control. You asked why we refused to fall back, Chung continued, as human ships closed in from all vectors. It's because we learned long ago that some lines cannot be crossed, some prices cannot be paid, some evils cannot be tolerated. Her image began to fade as the world render's power systems failed. You threatened our children, our world, our future, so we decided to make sure you could never threaten anyone else's. As darkness claimed his bridge, Commander Zextal understood with crystalline clarity that his species had made a fatal error. They had mistaken humanity's restraint for weakness, their diplomacy for cowardice, their peace for inability to wage. War, the humans had never been prey. They had been apex predators, wearing the mask of civilization. And now, as his ship died around him and his fleet burned in the void, Zextal realized a terrible truth. Humanity hadn't refused to fall back. They had chosen to fall forward, into war.